This podcast is for educational purposes only and is not a substitute for care by a doctor or other qualified medical professional. This podcast is provided with the understanding that it does not constitute medical or other professional advice or services. If you're looking for help, seek out a qualified medical services provider or other healthcare professional. Welcome to the Live Your Yoga podcast, a podcast dedicated to discovering and sharing all the ways in which yoga can be lived off the mat. Real stories by real people, just like you.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Live Your Yoga podcast. My name is Mark. I'm part of the faculty team here at Your Yoga Flow, and I'm here today with an FAQ podcast episode about all things online yoga teacher training. So specifically, the FAQs that we get at Your Yoga Flow about our online teacher training programs. This is what I thought would be a really nice opportunity to shed a little light, maybe a little depth, maybe a little more knowledge about our programming, and then also so you know a little bit more about us, and hopefully to help spread the message about these wonderful programs that we are able to offer. So without further ado, let's just dive in and go through some of the common FAQs that we get. So I've been doing this for many years now, and this is maybe the top frequently asked question that we receive, which is what makes Your Yoga Flow's online teacher training different than other online teacher trainings out there? So it's always a tough one to answer because, it's not possible to go and compare and contrast all the yoga teacher training programs out there. So when I answer this question, what I tend to do is just highlight what makes us different, or highlight what it is that we do really well and what we're really proud of offering. The first thing that maybe makes us different is the self-paced nature of our programs. Self-paced is such a wonderful learning opportunity for so many people. If you're a busy professional, if you have a family, if you just have a really kind of busy life where you can't take weeks of your life off to go somewhere to do an immersive yoga teacher training experience, then self-paced structure in an online education program means that you can work it around your life. First of all, that just means maybe less stress because you're not trying to complete so many hours on a particular day. You're not trying to watch a lecture whilst you're having to run kids around or take dogs out, these kind of things. So self-paced really is key. This means that you can work with your own learning style, your own way of absorbing and retaining information. You can review multiple times different areas that you need to give a little bit more attention to. So self-paced really is that. It's self-paced. It's you setting the pace for your learning and honoring that and allowing that to be your guide. So that's really number one, what it is that maybe makes us different. The other is our faculty. So faculty some of them with over 20 years of experience teaching yoga in different styles of yoga, the faculty coming from different lineages, different experiences, different places in the world. And all of this helps us to create a program that's really well-rounded and kind of reflective in some ways of the different people you'll meet in the yoga community. And then really what we're focusing on in our programs is real teaching skills. It's not just about completion. It's not just about getting through. It's really about becoming a competent, confident yoga teacher, and one who is able to offer accessible, safe classes to their community. And those things really set us apart and are highlights of our programming. The second, maybe commonly asked question that we might get is, who is online teacher training actually suited for? And who might actually struggle with this type of format? As I mentioned before, these types of programs, these online programmings, especially self-paced programming like ours, is wonderful for parents, caregivers, working professionals, students, kind of self-motivated learners, like people who really love the ability to take control of their learning and learn in a way that works for them. People who need flexibility so that you're not sort of beholden to having to complete X number of hours in a week. Like, you can decide, you can make this work for you. There'll be weeks where maybe you're able to study more, weeks where you maybe study less. And that's really why these programs are wonderful. And this is who might really benefit from them. The people who maybe might find it challenging are people who need maybe the external accountability. So if you're a person who has trouble completing online courses, then you might maybe decide to look for more of a hybrid option where there's an in-person component and also an online component. But again, if you can't take weeks away from your life and you want to complete a yoga teacher training program, then our online teacher training programs are ideal for you. Another question we get is, how do we support students in an online training format so they don't feel alone or disconnected? Well, number one, and something we love that we offer, is our community. So these private community spaces that we have at the Your Yoga Flow studio, where faculty are in there, students are in there. I love reading the comments from students. I just find it so inspiring and heartwarming to connect with people. We also have the live classes and live development sessions that happen multiple times a week. The classes are opportunities to practice in real time with the faculty. And then the live development sessions are areas where faculty will choose to dive even deeper into an aspect of yoga teacher training. Philosophy, meditation, prop use, teaching beginners, how to introduce chair yoga. There's so many, and there's a whole library of hundreds of these prior sessions that have been recorded and posted, so you can check those out as well and see the different areas that we focused on. And these are offered multiple times in a week, these types of live sessions, and that really helps us to kind of cement that idea of community together. The Student Support Hub is also another really wonderful place. Lots of questions coming through there that get answered by our team. So there's always an opportunity to connect with someone. And we love it when we get questions. We love being able to dive deeper into a certain topic that interests a student. So these community spaces and these opportunities to connect are what really help bring us all together. Another common question that was maybe more common before, kind of in 2020, was, can you really learn to teach yoga effectively without being in a physical classroom? And it's a question that still comes through because people wonder if it's possible. And I can tell you, as someone who has years of experience in this field, yes. The practicum classes that come through from our students are incredible. And in fact, the majority of practicums that are coming through for the courses that have a practicum component are constantly blowing my mind about how people are able to take this information, transform it, and then share it in a way that's authentic, accessible, and safe. So with clear cueing and demonstration and the video submissions for these courses that have the practicum component are just such a wonderful example of how you can learn to effectively teach through an online course. Now, why is that so? I think in part it's because you have the opportunity to spend more time on that particular component. In an immersive yoga teacher training experience, or maybe in other online courses that have a time frame that's quite short, there may be not time to kind of really dive into the cueing, to dive into the anatomy. And our courses are designed to kind of take you from the foundation to the final kind of submission for those courses that have the practicum. So you're guided along the way, gathering all of these skills, gathering all of these tools so you're ready. And you can really spend the time on that part that covers the asana, that covers the cueing, that covers the class planning, the theming, the multiple ways that you kind of prepare these practice classes before you get to this final submission. And then in the courses that don't have a practicum, because you're already a teacher when you're taking those courses, there's still that same dedication and that same kind of focus on clear cueing, on demonstration, and in working the different ways that we communicate with students into our classes. So not just the verbal cues, the visual cues, the different body language that we use, the the way that language is so important and the way that we offer options and suggestions, all of this is covered. And I think those are the skills that really are sustainable if you're looking at having a long-term teaching career. And yes, you can learn that with an online yoga teacher training program. So another common question is a variation of this, which is kind of how flexible is the training and what does a realistic weekly commitment look like, which sometimes is asked as how long will it take me, for example, to complete the 200 hours. So the easiest way to answer that is it depends. It's up to you. It's kind of, we take those 200 hours and we think about what's possible for us to complete in a week in terms of hours to dedicate, and we divide by that as a rough time frame. You might move quicker through some sections because maybe you already have knowledge of anatomy. Maybe you'll be slower with some other sections because you want to dive a little bit deeper into prop use or the cues for certain poses, things like this. But it really is flexible and it really is up to you. You create your timeline, you create your schedule. And that's really what self-paced is, in essence, is the ability to make this work for you. You can pause, you can return. So the average weekly commitment that one might have really changes and is a wide range based on your particular needs and lifestyle. So another quite common question is, how do you assess students in an online teacher training program? So I already mentioned that some of the courses have a practicum component, and all of the courses built throughout the courses are self-reflection exercises. So a lot of journaling, because that's really one wonderful way to learn and to contemplate, to consider, to think about different elements of teaching yoga. There's quizzes, there's exams, and then some of the courses have a practicum component, which is a video class you record based upon a criteria that's given, submitted to us, and then evaluated and feedback sent through by one of the faculty members. So depending on the course that you're in, some courses won't require that. Some courses do, especially the 200-hour level 1 yoga teacher training program. The practicum is the huge kind of climax of the course in essence, and it's a wonderful opportunity that you're working and building towards. And the practicum creation is maybe for many students the most exciting part of the training course and also the most nerve-wracking part of the training course. But there's a whole section before that's designed to give you the opportunity to practice that so that when you get to record your actual practicum, that you're prepared, you've done it before, it's no big deal, you know what you're doing. And that's really referring back to that idea of the course being designed to guide you through step by step so that nothing feels overwhelming or too much. What kind of feedback and mentorship can students expect throughout the training? So like I just mentioned, that personalized feedback for the practicum submissions is key. And as a person who marks some of these practicum submissions, I love giving feedback, and I love the feedback that we give because it's not just wonderful, this was amazing. It's also constructive feedback that's really going to help you as a teacher, because we don't just want to hear like the kind of glazed over version of what it is that we're doing. What we're offering is acknowledging what people are doing well, what people are really great at, the natural talents that they have. And then we're also highlighting certain areas where people can grow, where they can refine, maybe to spend a little bit more time studying. So it's real guidance. It's not just correction. It's not just glazing over. It's real supportive guidance. And the emphasis is really on building confidence in yourself as a teacher. So we're mentoring students to discover their voice as a yoga teacher, to use their voice as a yoga teacher, to use the skills that they have, not just in the yoga world, but in their everyday life, and share that with people, because that's what the world needs more of. Another question that's really common is like, what happens after I graduate? How do we support our teachers once they have finished the certification? And that's a great question, and it's continued access to community. It's continuing to be part of the community. It's the continuing education courses that we have. So, you could hypothetically finish the 200-hour yoga teacher training program, take some time maybe to refine your skills, to get your feet in the teaching world, and then join us for one of the continuing education classes like the trauma-informed yoga teacher training, the Ayurveda training, which is a real kind of self-care and self-practice focused training. And one of my most favorite trainings that we have, because I completed the training years ago when it was in person, and the online format is just that much more wonderful and accessible. And I'm so happy that we have that. And then there's the 300-hour teacher training, which is a combination of yin restorative and advanced asana, and all of these opportunities to keep growing with us. There's mentorship program. There's even just joining for the lives that happen every week and continuing to refine and to stay connected to the community. So these are all some of the wonderful ways that we can support students after certification, because we really see it as creating these lifelong connections with people. And there's students we've had since 2010 who did in-person teacher training programs with us. Some of them now are teachers for Your Yoga Flow, and some of them are valuable and dedicated community members. And we're so grateful to every single one of you for being part of Your Yoga Flow and part of this community. So the final sort of common question that we get a fair bit is for someone who is unsure or kind of on the fence, which happens, what is the most important thing to consider before choosing an online yoga teacher training program? So here's a few things that I would suggest. The first one is your learning style, to think about your learning style and your lifestyle. And if your learning style is someone who needs to spend a little bit more time to review, to move at your own pace, if your lifestyle is one where, it's difficult to carve out these huge chunks of times or to be online at a particular time on a particular day, then a course like what we offer, a self-paced course, would be ideal. The quality of the teachers is also really important. So make sure that you kind of investigate a little bit about who the teachers are, their teaching style, also important, the type of yoga that they're sharing, and just knowing a little bit more about the faculty, because these are the people leading you through the program. Investigating into the support of it. Is there a dedicated support hub? Can you easily contact someone? Can you get a response within a reasonable time? These are all things that are really important to consider. And then really seeing if the course is about long-term growth and not just about getting a certificate. And that's really what is a highlight for our programming. It's about long-term growth as a yoga teacher. It's not just about certification. We want everybody who graduates from our programs to be a confident and competent yoga teacher who is able to have a long career, if they choose, of sharing yoga with other people. And that's a really critical component to look for when you're exploring your options for online teacher training programs. So that's kind of the top common questions that we get. Obviously, there's always more questions that come through, but these are sort of the big ones that hopefully help to clear up any doubts or shed some light into some of the different areas that maybe people don't know about. And as always, I'm just really, really grateful to our community, the students and the teachers who make Your Yoga Flow exactly what it is. And I'm honored to respond to your comments and to connect with people. It's always a pleasure to answer your questions, to help shed some light into some of the more difficult areas of teaching yoga. And I think that even just through listening to this podcast, you're helping to support and grow the Your Yoga Flow community. And for that, I am grateful. And I know that the whole team is very, very grateful. Hopefully, I'll be back again soon with another FAQ episode. And in the meantime, have a fantastic rest of your day. Bye.